Hello, YouTube. This is the Galley La Podcast, and today we are going to be reviewing Chapter 1048, 20 Years. So we are resuming the Germa 66 cover story, which I kind of thought was one of the more interesting parts because it looks like this is a confirmation from the previous chapter that those two figures that we saw were Reiju and Ichiji, and we've really only seen them do something like covert or infiltration, like when they took out, I believe it was like 3,000 Big Mom soldiers, and then they pretended to be Nostorte, Niji did. So it will be interesting to kind of see like Ichiji and Reiju do this again. And so we've seen Cracker again, but we haven't seen Katakuri so far. But it looks like they might potentially utilize Pudding, if I had to guess, to break through. Maybe she's already put something in the works to release Yonji and Niji.
Maybe. What I kind of took away from this is that Oda deliberately kept their identity secret. So, like Brûlé saying, oh, this is Reiju and Ichiji, and they could be assuming that's who they are, but I personally believe that they're going to be different. It's going to be a new person that's on Whole Cake.
So two new people, right? Because
Yeah.
I believe we had two silhouettes. So any thoughts to that? Who do you think they could be?
I mean, I think I saw like some random thing that's like, oh, it's Crocodile and Das Bones. But that was just some random comment. But
yeah,
I don't have any theories.
Yeah, people keep on flinging it around, and I know like the Blackbeard stuff keeps on popping up, but I don't think Oda would introduce it in a cover story unless like it's like a cliffhanger, and it just like cuts off end of the story, like it ends abruptly kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, then that's a good indicator it's them. But yeah, for now, I'm curious to see what happens. Good to see Cracker back, memorable character. But yeah, so basically, we start this chapter off. Luffy says, Momo, move this away, Onigashima away, and we get well, I didn't really think it was the most essential thing. Like, I get characterization and all like that for both Kaido and Momo, but I'm like, all right, we have this flashback, and also just Kaido is at the same time saying, I'm just going to take on Luffy head on, basically. Mm-hmm. And I guess it's going to try to overlap with this. Kaido just took on all of Wano last time, wiped out all the samurai. So he's like, I did that. It's time for me to do this too. It's kind of like with this crew, he just holds everybody up, and including Orochi. He just does everything himself, Mm-hmm. And that's just the type of guy he is. So what were your thoughts on that?
Well, I was thinking that this is kind of like, it's in line with Kaido's character, with him. Like, I think he wants to prove that he's the strongest, so that's why he's not like, even though he went into this new flaming dragon form and Luffy let go of him, he's like, don't worry, I'm not gonna run away, I'm gonna meet you head on with this.
Yeah,
and I like this new form. I think, okay, just based on how big it is, I think this is gonna be his final attack. I know we talked about this before,
right?
Whether or not there was going to be more for Kaido's story, but in terms of like the fighting, but I think that because you can see like Kaido in the giant flaming Kaido, and he's like dwarfed compared to him, so this is so much bigger. He's like the size of Onigashima itself now.
Right. Yeah.
So, and like it's so, he's burning so hot that it's like melting the other horn that Zoro didn't cut off.
Yeah, so this is a new form. It's crazy to think he still has this much in his bag and just a skill set. But I do like the look and the artistic part of the form and everything. And I think you can interpret this fight is about the end. At the same time, I feel like it could be a deception too. That this fight's about then. I don't know. I feel like it can go either way at this point, like I said, I just think the lack of a Kaido flashback, and also I think we haven't seen in a visible way Kaido in extreme pain yet, or kind of like on the verge of getting KO'd. I haven't gotten that vibe yet. You know, I kind of felt like with Lucci, for example. I know I keep on going back to that fight, or same with Doflamingo. They took like extreme hits, and you can kind of see it visibly with them. I'm not getting that vibe with Kaido right now.
I don't know. We've seen Kaido take a lot of big hits. I mean, he's taken on the samurai, the kid, Law, the killer, and Zoro and Luffy. He's fought against Yamato and Momo, and he's gone through a lot.
No, I agree. He's gone through a lot. I just don't think it's being portrayed in his character, like appearance-wise, is what I mean. Like he's kind of struggling right now, is what I'm trying to get across. You know?
Maybe that's because Oda keeps like switching between his forms a lot. That we don't really get to see that as much.
Yeah, because Dofi, Crocodile, and Lucci, you did see like some physical pain drawn into their character, I guess. I just haven't been getting that vibe, and it's kind of like that critique I was making a little bit with Gear 5 Luffy a little bit, but you know, we'll see. It does feel like it's ending. This is the chapter where I'm like, okay, this is the closest it feels like it's gonna end, because you know they start going through this flashback. We see Kiku and Kinemon again, which is super exciting. I'm glad they're taking up panel space. Yeah, we just kind of go through summary of the events of basically Kaido taking over Wano and everything, which is kind of cool. I get it. You know, it's kind of summing everything up, and but I feel like we've already seen this side of Kaido already in the Oden flashback, so it wasn't anything groundbreaking, you know?
I mean, I think this is kind of tying in. I'm not saying this is going to be the main Kaido flashback, but I think this is the end of fight Kaido flashback. I think he's going to be incorporated a lot more into stuff. Like, we necessarily didn't get to see, like, I'm thinking of another big character like Whitebeard. He didn't really have a flashback until we saw him in the Oden flashback, really. So Oda might be saving Kaido for another part, particularly like his involvement with the Rocks Pirates.
Yeah, we did get some flashbacks through Ace and everything, and like I thought there was a fair enough amount of like flashbacks, I think, for Whitebeard, you know, but he got taken down. But also Whitebeard's not a villain though, right?
Yeah.
And I'd say like the only major villain that didn't really have a flashback was Crocodile, but that's kind of on purpose because of the ambiguity of his character. But when it came to like Lucci, Doflamingo, not Moria, but again, I think that was kind of on purpose too.
Well, Moria got kind of a little bit more fleshed out with his connection with Kaido. We saw a little bit of his flashback.
Yeah.
And I think this is kind of bridging everything because this whole flashback starts from the Odin's death, and it kind of follows Kaido, and then it shifts into Orochi, and then we end the chapter on Orochi. So I think that's why Oda kind of did it like this, like in terms of narrative-wise.
Yeah, and okay, so here's one point. I'd say we don't know why Kaido wants to die yet, which is kind of like the pinnacle, or why he wants to destroy the world. And I think that's kind of like with Doflamingo, you could be like, okay, I get why he is the way he is, you know? And I think like that's what I mean with this flashback we haven't seen yet, you know? And with Whitebeard's flashbacks, yeah, we knew why he lived his life. With Kaido, we still don't know, because we don't really even know why he's doing this to Wano in this flashback. Like, what pushed him to do all this? Like, to listen to what Orochi said, you know? Like, and I think that's the issue, character motivation-wise. Like, we know the character motivation behind Big Mom, clearly, too. Right? That's what I mean with that element with Kaido, we're missing that right now.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But it was interesting to see the, shoot, are these the Shogun? I'm blanking, or the heads of the House of Wano?
I think they're the daimyo. Yeah.
Daimyo. Okay. So Ringo, he looks kind of familiar.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can't remember.
It's Zolo.
It's Zolo, right? And then Udon. Yeah, we got Udon, Hakuma. There we go, and Kibi. So it is cool to actually see their faces a bit.
Yeah. I forget. Is that Yasui or is that
Hakuma?
Yeah.
Yeah, Hakuma's Yasui.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
I forget whether it was that or that. No, Hyoguro was like he was bigger. Never mind.
He was also like a crime lord. He wasn't a daimyo.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. And then we don't know much about Kibi and Udon.
Yeah.
We just know like Udon was where the prison was at and everything. But we're not familiar with Kibi as much. But yeah, so you see the samurai basically go in. So actually, what is kind of interesting, going back real quick, it is Usopp's the one that finds Kinemon and Kiku. They're passed out, and I think it's building up more for him to have a heroic moment because this is a flashback of Heroes, which was initiated with Usopp recognizing the samurai in pain. So we might have a heroic Usopp moment before this fight's even over. I know that seems crazy, but I don't know. Maybe we could even see Usopp go up against Kaido briefly. I know that sounds really weird and kind of out of it, but like one-on-one, and then you see Usopp like do something crazy to kind of like give Luffy a moment to get back up if Kaido somehow gets him down a little bit, holds him off long enough, and then Luffy gets back up. Because that would be a huge level of bravery, basically, right there. And it would also be mimicking the behavior of these samurai that Usopp keeps on being put in this position with over and over and over again right now. So he'd be mimicking these samurai. He keeps on displaying bravery. So I know that's kind of an out there theory, but I can't think of really anything else for Usopp to do right now.
Yeah, I mean, and he really hasn't done that much this raid.
Yeah, because Page 1 got taken out by Big Mom, basically.
Yeah.
Right? So he got taken off the table. Yeah, he hasn't really done much of anything. And all this Cypher Pole's roughly taken down. All the Beast Pirates are taken down. If there's Big Mom Pirates here, sure, but they aren't. And then Big Mom's gone. So unless he like goes up against Apu, but I don't think that's gonna happen either. And I don't think fighting Apu is like a brave badass moment per se. You know?
I mean, power scaling wise, Apu, like, low diff Zoro. Usopp could never take him.
And that 100% happened. But like, I think when it comes to, it's not like a badass epic moment though. You know, it's like impressive, but it's not badass. And I think Oda's like building him up because Usopp has not had a moment since like Dressrosa.
Yeah.
So it's been a while. Just those are some thoughts there, but it's kind of, I don't know, in some way like the worst part of Usopp. Like if Usopp was evil, he'd be like Orochi, just kind of a coward that gets other people to do things for bad reasons. But Usopp's kind of like the exact opposite though. He's like a good guy, but he's just kind of a coward though, you know. So basically, like I said, we just get more of a recap of Wano turning out the way it is, basically.
I kind of like this because we can all kind of get caught up in like the power scaling and and all the fighting and everything, but you kind of forget. It's good to have a reminder of what everyone's fighting for in this. Because I forgot like the state of like, oh yeah, they don't even have like good water or everything, because all these plot points were set up years ago. That because we've been in the raid for a couple years right now.
Right.
So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it is funny how like fire like starts consuming Orochi just like Kaido too, you know.
Yeah.
Showing they're kind of like both the antagonists here, you know. But what if you want to get all ZKK with it, I guess. You have Denjiro sliced off Orochi here, like Zoro's gonna cut off Kaido's head, if you want to interpret it that way. Both on fire, both villains, right?
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that. I was too distracted by the fact that Denjiro actually showed up to do something.
Yeah, it just took like, I don't know, it feels like 15 chapters at this point.
No, I think he showed up, I think it was like in the early 10s. Like
Right.
1010 or even before that. So, like, where has he been this whole time? Because he doesn't look like that worn out or anything, as if he's been fighting.
Yeah, maybe he's been doing some funny business. I mean, Oda kind of dragged out the Hiyori thing quite a bit, to be honest.
Maybe,
I thought that was a little too much.
Maybe he's the true Mr. Prince.
Yeah, right. It is funny, like, it is cool because it's like a confirmation theory. Please make Orochi disappear. It flies by as soon as he slices the head off.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Free us from this hell. Give us a sip of clear water. Kind of one thought I had maybe is if Onigashima gets dropped in the water and all this, like, water ends up, like, hitting Wano basically, or either that or the waterfalls or like the isolation nature of Wano is going to be dismantled, which allows them to get more clean water too, basically, when the geography moves. Those were kind of my two thoughts with that balloon in particular,
Yeah. Well, they once again in the flashback they specifically pointed out like Wano's borders will remain closed. Oh, and also in the flashback we got confirmation that Toki was killed. He said one of Odin's wives, she was confirmed dead. So
yeah,
we can kind of put that to rest.
Let's hope.
Yeah, because it was kind of the anime that had an actual death scene for her, but
yeah. So when it says the present hears the cries of the past, is that more in reference to the scabbards or just the people in general? Because the scabbards are both like simultaneously from the past and are in the present in a way,
Yeah.
And yeah, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it, or it could even be referencing like Luffy with Joy Boy.
Sure.
But
lineage, willpower, all that stuff, and now we, see the ultimate clash with someone who is potentially seen as a Joy Boy versus the current Joy Boy, which is really cool. I just feel like I'm being punked. I don't know. Maybe Oda's given us PTSD over the years, with like how he's pulled a fast one on us.
Yeah.
I'm just super skeptical right now, and I know a lot of people have had their gone around like their their elaborate theories, like this is how Oda's gonna mess with us and this and that. I don't know. I'm just getting that vibe though. This seems too good to be true right now. That's all. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm fine with it if it goes this way. But but in this chapter, I did kind of feel it's not a good feeling. I was like, I was getting like anime Dressrosa vibes from this, like how the punch started the first thing in this chapter. No, it started last chapter, and it's still going on at the end of this chapter.
Yes.
I don't know.
And everybody gets showcased, like all the civilians and Dressrosa and all that stuff too, right?
Yeah, but I mean that's probably leading up to the final. I truly believe that this is going to be the final attack because Luffy's fist and Kaido's fire form are both like the size of Onigashima itself. Like I don't see where we can go that's bigger than this.
Yeah, and I completely agree. I think you could definitely 50-50 on this, to be honest. I've given my reasons why I'm not going to convince of that. Just like basically why Kaido fights and everything, and I think Usopp has to have a moment before this fight concludes too. Those are kind of my two things right now, basically holding me back right now.
I mean, we also have to deal with we have Zunisha and the Marines coming, so we have to clear up that plot point as well.
That's true, but since Usopp's just getting motivation from the samurai right now, I feel like to get that inspiration, he needs to also help fight against the guys the samurais are fighting. You know, they don't have like an animus against the Marines, is what I'm trying to say, you know? So, I mean, that's just kind of my vibe, I guess, for this right now, but I'd be okay with being wrong and everything. It just seems too predictable, I guess, what I'm trying to get across. Because, like, even with Orochi's head getting cut off, we know he's going to come back, right?
Yeah, how many times have we seen his head get cut off at this point?
Right, and he could pull a fast one and just, like, oh, they're about to win, and then Hiyori and Denjiro get captured, right? In some weird way. And then, oh yeah, he's about to beat Kaido too, and then like, no, that's a fake out also, right? So it could be set up in that way too. But I mean, that's basically all my thoughts there, you know? I don't want to keep on repeating myself, but that's it. I don't know. Do you have any like closing thoughts?
No break. Which is good.
There we go.
But I think we're gonna see, I mean, we're obviously going to see the conclusion of this clash next week, but I think by 1050, we're going to see the definitive end of Luffy versus Kaido. That's what I'm thinking.
I think that's fair. I would say more actually 1054, 1053 if we have a flashback coming up. I mean, yeah, you know what? Next chapter could actually lead into the flashback, now that I think about it. If this is, in fact, the final attack. It kind of, like, triggers right there.
Maybe.
But, yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I'm looking forward to it, though. But if you enjoyed this episode, leave a like, subscribe, etc. And we will see you guys next week. No break. Let's go. Have a good one.
See ya.